Hi friends, welcome to this week's DFU. Today we are continuing the third class in our Final Fantasy VII semester. Just to remind you, a semester will be multiple episodes deep diving into one subject. This class will not be like a normal DFU, it'll be more conversational in style, and we'll be continuing the discussion that we started in the first couple of episodes, or first couple of classes, excuse me. If you have not watched those classes, please go back and then come to this one. Otherwise, you're going to be dropped right into the middle of a story and have no idea what's going on. But today, joining me is the man who has to put Final Fantasy VII into a conversation every single day of his life. Chris, thank you for being here. How you doing?
It's called keeping it relevant. That's what it's called. Not that
Really,
it
that's what it's
needs
called?
me to do it, but I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to help for sure.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. Yeah. Doing good. Doing good. I was going to wait and say this on the podcast, but I'll just get it out real quick. Fucking trailer came out today. Woohoo. Yep. So if anybody's watching this and wondering if it's actually today, no, it's not. It is 5/9/2019. The trailer is out. If you haven't seen it, go fucking see it. We haven't had any information since 2015. Damn it. Go watch it. It's fucking amazing. Aerith looks gorgeous. Cloud looks gorgeous. Barrett looks gorgeous. I love it. All of it. All of it. Graphics are great. Graphics are great. Yeah.
So, audience, what you don't know is because Chris brings up Final Fantasy VII all the time. Somebody was talking to him about E3, and they were talking about how excited, like he was mentioning how excited he was because he was going to learn more about Final Fantasy VII. I was like, honestly, I kind of hope they don't have an announcement about Final Fantasy VII because, like, Chris will just deflate. Like, he will become the saddest little balloon and, like, pancake of sadness, and it will be hilarious.
Because she's a
So,
bad friend.
because I am an awful human being. Like, he's a monster and he kills digital people during games. I want to see my friend deflate from a happy balloon into a sad pancake.
Yes.
But when we got on to record this evening, Chris was just like, "You need to watch this. This is my fuck you video." And it was, of course, the trailer. So I'm not going to get to watch Chris turn into a sad pancake, but
It
that
was
would have been really
all the
fun.
same day, too. It was perfect. I was like, yes. So,
Yeah, this was all today. It was
uh,
great.
lined up great. So happy. So happy.
And
Joke's on you.
honestly, and I said this to Chris, the trailer does look really cool, and I think I'm actually going to play the game. I wasn't sure I was going to, but I think I'm going to. It looks really good.
It's. Oh, God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
And they've had 23 years to get it right, so if it's not good, that's on them at this point.
That would be kind of interesting, and just like another thing, some obviously don't want to jump on a rabbit trail with this, but they actually outsourced it to an outside company and gave them like a chance to make like the first couple levels or some shit like that, and then the company sent it back and they're like, yeah, nobody can do this like we can in house, so no, and scratched
I'm
the whole
proud of them
project.
for
Oh
realizing
yeah,
that and making the
absolutely.
decision.
Yeah, I'm so fucking happy about that. Absolutely. So like they literally said we could easily wait another 10 years and give this to the generation below us because they'll have a better grip on what today's gamer wants to play. But we feel like to do a service to the fans, the original should be the one to do the remake. And so like they brought back everybody, which is fucking awesome. So I'm
Wow.
super pumped. The only thing that I would say, if there's one negative, if I have one negative about it, which this seems to be pretty common, is that everybody we haven't, once again, the game was had no audio dialogue at all. It was all you read it. So the
Hmm.
voices we got to know were from the voices from the movie, and they did not get the same voice actors and actresses from the movie. They just got different ones. So then, like, we hear like Sephiroth talk for the first time, like, well, that doesn't sound like Sephiroth, because that's all we've had for fucking
Hmm.
23 years. It's the goddamn movie. Not really 23 years. It came out way later, but anyways, still a significant amount of time. That's all we had was the movie. So that's, I mean, I can get over that easily. Easily, I can get over that, but it's just going to be weird at first. I'm gonna be like, well, this doesn't really sound like Cloud. Well, this doesn't really sound like
It's going to
Sephiroth.
take a little while to, like,
Just a
sink
little
in.
bit, just a little bit. I mean, I've
It
only
makes
watched the
sense.
trailer like 200 times at this point, so it's starting to get there. But I need a little bit more
That's
voice
good.
lines from Sephiroth, and then I'll feel a little bit better. So just a little bit.
Oh, man. All right, well, I think the last time that we left off,
Hmm.
the Don Carino character had
Your favorite
told
character?
them,
Yep.
yeah.
I
Anyways,
forgot he actually has a like how he has that like blonde mohawk and the sides of his heads are bald. Literally on the side of his head, he actually has like a fucking heart tattoo with a fucking arrow through it. Like he looks so fucking stupid. It's the dumbest character ever.
I'm
Oh
I'm
man,
judging that pretty hardcore.
you should.
Yeah, so he had informed our characters here,
Hmm.
Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith, that hey, Shinra's going to blow up the reactor, drop the plate on to Seventh Heaven Bar and everybody in the Sector 7 slums, and blame Avalanche. And then he dropped him in a dungeon. So
Sewer.
what happens now?
So yeah, he hit the switch, dropped him down into the sewer, and he actually has like this little fucking beast he has chained up down there. So basically, you get into a little bit of a fight as soon as you get down there. Once again, for the people who plan on playing the game, due to the fact that you watch this and are excited to play the game, another chance to buff up points on either Tifa or Aerith. When you fall down, Cloud gets up, and they're both still down like they're hurt. Whoever you talk to first actually gets points, and the other person does not. So if you're trying to romance Tifa, make sure you check on Tifa first. If you're trying to romance Aerith, make sure you romance or you talk to Aerith first. Anyways, I mean that's just basic rule of thumb. Anytime Aerith is talking to you and she says anything about the party members, like there's plenty of times where you get a chance to just stop and talk to the party members. Always talk to whoever you're wanting the love interest to be with first, every single time.
Just be consistent.
Yes,
Do
exactly.
that in real life too.
Yes, for sure. Anyways, so we actually get a cool little scene where we head back over to Shinra HQ and we meet two new characters. First off, we've already met the president back whenever he talked to Cloud and them whenever the second reactor went to go blow up. And we meet it's his name is so weird. It's Hagar, something like that. Anyways, he's like the president of the weapons department for Shinra and making weapons and shit like that. This big fat guy, he literally just walks around laughing all the time. Like it's so fucking annoying. They even make fun of it in the game too. Like he'll start laughing and stuff. I'm like, really, dude? Are you serious? Yeah. And then we meet Reeve. Reeve is the head of the urban development department for Shinra. So basically, it's them explaining the plan that they're going to drop the seventh plate and kill all those people in order to destroy uh, Avalanche, and Reeves not okay with it, obviously, because he basically built Midgar, because he's head of urban development and all that other shit. So he's pretty much built Midgar from the ground up. So he's not okay with it, and the president's basically like, "Oh well, you'll get over it." And then he's like, "But won't this just make people lash out?" And the president's like, "No. Instead, what we'll do is that we'll raise taxes, in the lie saying that we're going to rebuild the slums and the Sector 7 plate, and instead we'll just use that to fund our own little project we have going on, and then it will make everybody feel like they're safe with Shinra and that, we're taking care of them, and, we took Avalanche out, because they blamed the entire thing on Avalanche, the Sector
Mm-hmm.
7 plate falling. Or they planned to blame it on Avalanche, because it's not falling. Anyways, so then we switch back to our heroes. As they travel through the sewers, they end up getting out and getting back to the Sector 7 slums. Just in time to hear Barrett screaming at the top of his lungs, cuss word here, cuss word there, our classic Barrett. And they look up this gigantic pillar that has this ladder, or the stairs going all the way up, and Aerith is down on the ground with Wedge, or she kneels down on the ground with Wedge, which was one of the guys from the first mission, the bigger guy. And she sits down. She's like, "I'll tend to his wounds. You guys get up there and help out Barrett." So Cloud and Tifa take off running up the tower, go up the stairs. You run into Jesse, and you also run into Biggs, which were the other two guys that were with you, or the other guy and the other girl that were with you on the first mission. First two missions, they were there for both of them. And they're all like, "Hurry up, get up, help Barrett." And they kind of have like a moment where it's like, are all these people really going to die because of us? Like, did we cause this? Like, is this our ultimate punishment for doing what we've been doing? Type deal. And so
Mm-hmm.
you get all the way up to the top, and Barrett's up there, and basically you see this helicopter that's flying around, and he's trying to shoot it down. And then whenever you get up there and you get a chance to like make your full team, which is just the three of you, because you can't have Aerith because she's still down on the ground, you get into a fight with Reno, our buddy Reno from the Turks. He jumps down off the helicopter and basically starts the charges to blow up the pillar. So you go to start fighting Reno. Once you get done fighting Reno, he leaves, and Tifa goes to stop the bomb. Then she starts to cry because she doesn't know how. And then Cloud goes to walk over and take a look at it, and he goes, "Well, this is a special kind of bomb. I don't know if this is something that we physically can stop." And then
Mm-hmm.
at that point, the helicopter pulls up, and Sung steps out. Now, Sung is our lead, or is the leader of the Turks. If we're looking back at our Turk picture, Sung is the guy with the cell phone up to his ear. He is the official leader of the Turks. He shows up, and what's interesting about this part is that not only is it him, but it's also Aerith as well. He has Aerith captured and on the helicopter. Yes.
That's not great.
No, it is not. So immediately Cloud's like, "What are you doing with Aerith? Give her back." And then Witch Sung says, "Sorry, I can't do that. Our main mission, yes, was to come here and blow up the Sector 7 slums, but the President will be happy to know that we captured the last living ancient." The last living ancient. Plot. A little bit of plot.
What does that mean?
Well, we're going to get there. So,
Right.
the last living ancient. Anyways, and so Cloud obviously was like, "I don't know what you're talking about, but give her back. We'll stop you." And Sung's like, "Obviously you won't." And then Aerith looks at Tifa and goes, "Don't worry, she's safe." And as she says that, Sung slaps her and knocks her down on the helicopter. And then they kind of do the whole like flying away. So then Barrett looks around as the bombs are getting ready to go off, and he sees this hook tied to this construction wire, and he's like, "Here, we can take this to get out." So they all three grab onto the hook, go flying out of the Sector 7 slums as it blows up, and unfortunately the plate does fall, murdering hundreds of innocent people in the slums, including our friends Wedge, Jesse, and Biggs. So
Aww.
teammates of Avalanche also died as well. So then everything goes black. We open up on a scene where we see Barrett, Cloud, and Tifa. Barrett immediately goes running to the door to the Sector 7 slums, but you can't get in there because there's debris all over the place just piling up. And he just starts, basically calling out their names. They're not answering. And then he gets pissed off because he remembers that also Marlene was at the bar because that's where they live. And that's in Sector 7 slums. So he starts crying, falls to his knees, screaming out her name and everything. And then Tifa goes, "Don't worry, I think Marlene's safe." And he goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, I left her with Aerith, or I told Aerith where she was at, and as she was leaving, she said, 'Don't worry, she's safe.' So I have to believe that's who she was talking about, was Marlene." At which this point, then Cloud is basically kind of like a "I have stuff I have to go do" type deal because he's still his
Yeah.
lone wolf self. So he's getting ready to walk off, and then Barrett and Tifa run after him. We're all like, "Look, if you're going to go save," well, first Barrett's like, "Take me to Marlene," and then Tifa's like, "If you're going to go save Aerith, like we owe her for saving Marlene. Let us help you save Aerith." At which they go to Aerith's mom's house. So we're going back home. And as soon as they walk in, the mom turns around. She goes, "Cloud, was it?" And he's like, "Yep." And she goes, "Let me guess. This is about Aerith." And he goes, "Yeah, sorry, but Shinra has her." And she goes, "I knew that this would happen sooner or later." And he goes, "What do you mean? Why do they want her?" And she goes, "Well, it's a long story." So she tells the story. And the story is actually pretty fucking interesting in my opinion. So basically,
Okay.
her and her husband have always wanted to have kids. And they were never able to have children. He gets drafted to go to the Wutai War, which we talked about Wutai back on our first episode, which is the Japan-style setting on the map. So he got drafted to go
Okay.
fight against Wutai, and the Wutai War is what it was called, and that was like 15 years before where we're at in the game now. So he goes to go fight in the Wutai War, and she's lonely at the house. And months go by, couple years go by, and she finally gets a letter saying that he's coming home on vacation. Like he's going to be able to come home on leave. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. So she goes to the train station and she sees like all these guys getting off and they're reuniting with their wives and girlfriends and stuff like that. And then the door closes. He doesn't get off. So she asks
Oh no.
the guard, "Is there anyone left on train?" And he's like, "No." So then she kind of like sits down on the stairs and starts crying. She
Yeah.
goes, "So I didn't think the worst, but I just thought maybe his leave got canceled." She goes, "So I came back to the train station every day, and then one day she comes back and she sees there's this lady who's laying on the stairs and she's dying. And then next to her is this little girl with a ribbon in her hair and she's crying. So she walks up immediately and tries to help the woman. The woman goes, "I'm not going to be able to survive, but whatever you do, take care of Aerith." And she goes, at that moment, she started to return back to the live stream. She's like, "I didn't really know what to do, so I took Aerith with me." And then it just became a thing where it was like she was a daughter to me. We never had children, and I always wanted children, and she needed a mother, and I needed someone in my life as well. So they started to live together. And she goes, she was a pretty normal girl. There was, nothing odd about her for a while, but then she would start to tell me that she would hear people talking to her and there would be no one around. She would start to hear voices in her head. And then she told me that she could feel her mother returning back to the live stream, which I didn't understand what she meant by that. She goes,
Hmm.
until one day where Aerith walked down and she said, I'm sorry. And she's like, why are you sorry? What did you do? And she goes, someone you love very near and dear to you is now passing on to the live stream. Their soul was on their way here to come see you one last time, but they've already returned back to the planet. And she's like, I had no idea what she was talking about. I thought she was just, just being a little girl.
Oh.
She goes, the next couple of days, I got a letter telling me my husband had died. And she's like, from then on,
Yeah.
I knew there was something special with Aerith.
Okay. Can hear and feels. She's kind of. Aerith is kind of connected to the live stream in some way.
Yeah, she's connected to the planet. She's connected to the live stream. So she is the last of the ancients. So I'll give you a little bit of a brief breakdown on what the ancients are because until we get this next part out of the way, which I'm not sure if we'll get to in this video, it might be the next one. I can't give you the full thing because it'll be a spoiler alert for that. So the ancients are a civilization that lived basically before the humans and everything else, and what they were born like strictly from the life. I mean, everything technically is born from the live stream, but the live stream like basically like created them to where the ancients kind of helped create civilization with the live stream. And their job was to wander the planet and just find ways to, help fix anything that was wrong with the planet, use the live stream in ways to heal the planet, and just overall, they were just caretakers of the planet. Uh, and that's pretty much what their whole role was. But they were very in tune with the planet. They were very natural. Like, they didn't do, like, this whole electricity or anything like that. Very spiritual beings. And, like, it, some of the stuff that you end up finding way later on and that like the ancients left behind, like the technology they had was pretty crazy considering the fact like they didn't have like electronics or anything, which is pretty cool shit. But once again, that's like way later on in the game, so we'll get to that at some point. But
They're basically stewards. They
pretty
were
much,
created to be stewards.
pretty
Okay.
much, yeah, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, that was their
Yeah.
entire goal was to just just take care of the planet, watch over the planet, and kind of like live in this peace because they realized that like if they can take care of the planet and the live stream becomes just this amazing thing, then they can turn Gaia into the promised land, where basically there will be endless amounts of live stream, endless amounts of Mako to make these materia and just be able to live good lives where you can just, fucking, you're hungry, fucking fireball out of the hand, boom, you cook something, bam, done. Like they just were just trying to overall just make sure the planet it had everything it needed to become the promised land. That's like their overall journey
Hmm.
is to create the promised land.
Okay.
Yep. So that's what the ancients are, and Aerith is the last sole survivor of the ancients, which is pretty interesting. So this is where the game, in my opinion, gets cool. So at this point, basically, where you're standing, you've got your heroes and you've got Shinra. The planet's at danger, so basically it's very easy to draw a line that like there's a point A and a point B. The planet's dying, the team needs to save the planet. Not saying that's the overall plot, but it's one of them. But for you right now, it seems like that's the overall plot. This
Yeah.
whole Aerith and her mother stuff, we are far from over with that little itty bitty arc. It plays into
Hmm.
so much that continues on, and this happens with multiple different characters, which is why I say this story is so amazing. And how I was talking about last
Ooh.
episode, where as you're playing through, you can kind of focus a little bit more on one specific story to learn that a little bit more than you did the first time. Because like my first time playing through, I was like, whatever, I don't care about this Aerith bullshit. I want to do the main quest. Let's do this. I mean, you have to do all of them regardless. You have to do all of them together to beat the game. So you get told the same story every time, but if you're not once again being that young, it was very confusing to
Yeah.
me with all this other shit going on, and it was a lot easier as I grew older and started playing the game multiple times. I was able to focus on one storyline all the way through, and be like, okay, I understand this a lot better now, and this makes a lot more sense now. So this is just one of those little kind of spots where I can kind of tell you like we're kind of getting into that spot where we're going to start having these limbs sprout off and turn into their own branches, and yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. So we have a lot
Hmm.
more to cover on her, but not yet.
Interesting.
But yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at with the ancients and where we're at with Aerith and her mother. So yeah, her actual mom that she's been with now obviously is not her real mom, but she considers that to be her real mom. She considers her to be her real daughter. She didn't keep anything from Aerith. The only thing Aerith has to remember her mom is her materia. She has one thing of materia, which I actually forgot to talk about whenever Cloud crashed through the church. Aerith asked Cloud if he has any materia on him, and he goes, "Yeah, I sure do." And she goes, "Well, I have materia on me as well." She goes, "It's just one. It was my mother's, and it doesn't do anything." And Cloud goes, "Well, then obviously you're not using it, right?" She goes, "No, I know how to use it. It just doesn't do anything, but I just feel safe having it," which comes into play later, and that's all I'll say about that. Comes into play later. So yes,
Breadcrumbs. We're scattering
a little
breadcrumbs.
bit, a little bit, a little bit. You know, I don't want to overfeed you to where we have to take a break. You know what I'm saying? Once we get there and be, ready to go.
All right.
Anyways, so basically at that point, Cloud and them make a vow to go and save Aerith, but before that, um, Aerith's mother lets Barrett know that yes, she did bring Marlene, so Marlene is safe, and she was upstairs asleep in Aerith's room. So Barrett went to go see his daughter, spend some time with her, which is actually kind of funny because he gets judged pretty hardcore by Aerith's mother whenever he comes back down. She's like, how could you dare do like this vandalism and stuff that you're kind of into, and leave that little girl without a dad? And he's all like, everything I do is for her to have a brighter future, for her to be able to live, on a better planet versus one that's going to be completely sucked dry by the time that she's old enough to, know what's going on and stuff like that. So they kind of, buried the hatchet at that. But it was just funny because she immediately was just like, "You're a terrible dad," like right off the bat. And I was like, "Holy shit." I was like, "Damn, we're gonna have to fight in here. Is Aerith's mom gonna be one of the bosses? Holy shit!"
Yeah, I feel like Barrett could probably take her. haven't seen her, but I'm gonna guess he could probably take her.
Well, considering that she's pretty much a human and he's also pretty much a human, but he also has a Gatling gun on his hand, or for a hand, I'm gonna say the favor might tip in his favor. Just a little bit skills.
If he has ammunition that day, maybe.
Well, so far, I mean I don't know about the remake, but in the old one he doesn't run out of ammo. That's not a thing. So he could just shoot for fucking days. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. So, which is pretty cool because like throughout the game you don't actually stay with the same weapon. Which the only thing that sucks about that, like I like the whole I like getting new weapons. I like the way new weapons look and shit like that, and just like figuring out which
Mhm.
one's my favorite. And in this game, like different weapons do a multiple different things. Like for instance, when I know I had discussed about Tifa's final weapon does more damage the higher up her limit bar is. Like all these weapons do different things, and they all look different and they all do like actual different animations and shit. So Barrett's are funny because like Cloud, no matter what, it's a sword. Tifa, no matter what, they're like gloves. So sometimes they have like hooks on them, or sometimes they have like claws on them, or sometimes they have like just fucking straight up steel pounded onto them. But basically, they're gloves. Barrett has like an assortment of different fucking guns that go on his arm. Like at one point, he's got like a fucking he starts with an assault rifle. At one point, he's got a flamethrower. Then he's got like a grenade launcher. Then he's just got like this fucking Captain Hook, fucking pirate hook on his hand. It's called like the atomic scissors. He gets like this fucking crazy satellite beam equipped into his hand that does massive fucking ray damage. Like yeah, it gets pretty dumb at some points.
I mean, that's honestly really cool.
It is, but it looks ridiculous, especially whenever you're used to Barrett being your range character, and then you equip him with the atomic scissors, and then he goes to attack, and instead of like just holding his arm out in front of him like he always does and starts shooting, he just runs up and slaps somebody in the face with this gigantic thing of scissors, and then runs back. It just sits there back on the other side of the battlefield. He looks so stupid. Oh my gosh, poor Barrett. Gotta love him. Gotta love him. He's part of the team. He's part of the team. Part of the squad. Anyways, I will say, since we did talk about the remake, and I'm not jumping into that, but if you watch the remakes trailer, both trailers, they gave Barrett sunglasses. I thought that was interesting because he doesn't have sunglasses in the original game. So I wonder, like, did they look at Barrett and was like, he really has that I'm a cool dude factor, and we need to give it to him just a little bit more, give him the sunglasses? I wonder why they did that. That's just, I don't know. It's just stuck out to me when I was watching the trailer. I was like, he has glasses in this one too. I wonder why they did that, because he doesn't have it in the game, and he doesn't have it in the movie. I don't know. Just was like, you know what? I'm gonna be a fucking cool guy now and wear sunglasses all the time. And the majority that you play the game, it's fucking dark, especially when you're in Midgard. So it's like, yeah, dude.
There are some people who will wear them even when it's dark.
Good lord, good lord.
Indoors.
How do you see? I don't know. Just don't know. Oh well. Oh
But
well.
you look really cool.
Sure. We'll go with that.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely. Anyways, so now we get back to our heroes storming Shinra. Yes. Finally taking the fight to Shinra. Pretty excited about it. The cool part is as soon as you get there, you get to choose what you want to do. Tifa gives you the option to try to find a different way in and sneak through. And Barrett's pretty much on it. Let's just kick down the front fucking doors and just start guns blazing. I'm dead serious. That's literally how he says it. Like, let's kick down the front fucking doors and run in guns blazing. So you get to choose what you want to do. Left, you kind of get a couple cool items, but you can still get those regardless. And if you go through the front door guns blazing, you get into a lot more fights, which means a lot more EXP. So, and you still get those other items. I always kick in the front door guns blazing because that's just me. So. Fuck yeah. So, usually, whenever I'm playing a game through, as long as I'm not going to miss out on any special materia, I'm pretty much down for whatever. But there's like, if you go this way, you get this materia, and if you don't go this way, you'll never get this materia. I'm like, well, then I'm fucking going for the materia. But if you go the other way, you get like 8 potions. Well, fuck the potions. I can get 2 shits about that. I want the materia. So, I'm all about mastering the materia. It takes fucking forever. Oh my god. But it's
Now,
worth
what
it.
does that mean when you say mastering the
So
materia?
basically, whenever you get materia, depending on which materia it is, and that doesn't come down to color, all colors act the same. They'll have different varieties of levels. Sometimes they're just 1 level, sometimes they're 2 levels, and they go all the way up to 5 levels. And basically, what it is that whenever you put materia on you, it has negative effects. So it brings down your health, it brings down your overall MP, it brings down your defense. The more you master it and get better at it, not only does the stronger the materia come doing better effects, and it takes less magic to use, but it also starts to decrease those debuffs as well. So therefore, like if it like for first level 1 takes 5 health away or 5 away from your maximum health, then whenever you get to maximum 5, then it will just take away nothing. Some of them still take away. Like that's a part of the strategy where it's like a lot of these materia are broken, especially summons, where you can literally summon gods and shit to come help you and do a shit ton of damage, like Knights of the Round. But at the same time, if you overstack your character with so much materia, they're not reaching their full potential, and they're weighed down by this materia. So therefore, like where Cloud would normally have like 9,999 health, if I was to go put all my summon materia on him right now, he's going to be more around like in the 6,000 something range of health with all that materia on him. But whenever you master all the materia, you can actually combine them into the master materia, which I know I just said master twice. But basically what it is that it takes, instead of having, like, for instance, there's like 15 summon materia. I don't know if that's the exact number, but I'm just going to go 15. So let's say there's 15 summon materia. I master all those out to their highest levels. That means I've mastered every single one of those materia. I can now combine those into the master summon materia, and it takes all 15 of them and puts them into 1 materia. And then I could just put that 1 materia on Cloud, and he could do all the summons, and it has 0 debuffs. So then he also takes there's no penalty for having it on him either. He doesn't have any penalties at all. So.
Okay, and you master, I understand you 1 to 5. Like, I think I'm getting that by getting it to 5 so it reduces the debuffs, but how do you do that? Do you use it? Do you?
You have to have it on you while you're battling. You don't have to use it. It just has to be part of you. So basically, whenever you win a battle, you get awarded 3 things. EXP, Gil, well, technically 4. Any items the characters might have had, if they had any at all, and AP. AP is what levels up materia. Most monsters don't have a lot of AP, and materia, some of them fucking cost a lot of fucking AP. But the cool thing is like, let's say I got 200 AP, and I was in a fight with whatever, and all my characters, let's say they have like 16 pieces of materia on them a piece, because I think that's the most you can have in 1 slot, because your weapons can hold materia and your armor can hold materia. Depending on what you have, they have different slots, and some slots connect, and if those slots connect, then that means you could put a materia in one of the slots, and in the connecting slot you can put a support materia, and then it does the support action to that materia. As I discussed in the first video where I said if you use Cure, And then if you have the all support materia in there, then you'll do cure all, and it will cure the entire
Mm-hmm.
team. So that's how that
Yes.
works. And then the rest of them are just unlinked. So they're just
Okay.
single slots. They don't actually, connect or anything like that. And it's not like every materia works together either. It has to specifically be a support, and supports don't work with like counterattack and like independent materials and shit. So it's a whole fucking system you basically have to dive into. It takes a while to learn. Like my first 5 times playing, I still had no idea what the fuck I was doing with my materia. I was just like, yeah, Knights of the Round, let's go. So at this point, I just mastered all, and then I pretty much don't really even use it. Like my main materia setup is me using time to speed up my characters so that way they get their turns back twice as fast as the enemy, and then slow to slow down the enemy even more. And then I use Tifa to cast regen, where my health is constantly refilling itself every time I take damage. And then I use Wall with Red 13 to cast a wall barrier in front of me that blocks 50% of all physical and magical damage. And then from there, I just beat the shit out of the enemy until they die.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's incredibly that sounds incredibly overpowered.
That's not even fucking close. So, for instance, I don't really want to say
Okay.
this because this ain't the best way to do this. But if you have the time, Ruby Weapon is the hardest boss in the game. It's not even close. It's the hardest boss in the game. And I've messed around with a couple different materials trying to find the best way to beat him. And there's a lot of cheap materia tactics you can use to beat certain people. So whenever you master a materia, it actually strengthens it to the point where it bursts a second materia. So like it gives you another materia and it starts at level 0, and you can master that and then get another materia that starts at level 0, and you can just keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. But once again, some materias take forever to fucking level up, like the summon ones take forever to level up. Anyways, so the most common thing is to do counterattack and mime. And basically, you'll have 8 slots, so you'll have 8 counterattacks and 8 mimes, and they'll be all connecting slots. So basically, you put the counterattack down and then the mime right behind it. So it's just counterattack, mime, all the way across. 8 slots per weapon per thing on just Cloud. And then what you do is you let the enemy just keep beating the shit out of you until you get your limit breaker. Then you cast Omni Slash. Once you cast Omni Slash, which is his ultimate limit breaker, which does a shit ton of damage, and he fucking goes flying around with his sword for like fucking 20 hits. It hits the fuck out of the enemy, does a lot of damage. Then you wait, and whenever your turn comes up, you hit Mime, and he'll mime whatever his last action was, which was Omni Slash. But yet you don't have your limit breaker back, so you shouldn't be able to do it. But because that's how Mime works, that's how Mime works. So then you mime Omni Slash, and then every time he hits you, your counterattack goes into a counterattack, but it also is connected to the mime, so it automatically mimes Omni Slash again. So then you're just in a constant rotation of Omni Slash until basically the enemy dies. Just constant rotation of Omni Slash, which is fucking hilarious to watch. But the way that I did it, which is probably the cheapest way to do it, is if you get the Hades summon materia and Knights of the Round summon materia. So what you do is that you use, and you can do this with literally 0 level materia. But anyways, what you do is that you equip Knights of the Round materia and then HP absorb, which means that whenever it does its attack, it's going to absorb a shit ton of HP and give it back to Cloud.
Okay.
Ruby Weapon's going to hit you once every single turn doing this tactic. You just got to make sure your health is high enough to survive it. And basically, he does around like 6,000 damage a hit, so you need to be as max as possible.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, and the highest you can be HP wise is 9,999. So he does anywhere between, like, he even has a move that will straight up just wipe your entire team.
So he takes over half your health in one hit?
Yes.
Yay!
And not only that, but if you go in there, like, you can't hurt him at all unless his hands are in the ground. And whenever he goes to put his hands in the ground, he makes a whirlwind in the sand, and it automatically sucks one of your characters into it and shoots them out of the battle. So then you're down to 2, and then it does it again until you're down to 1.
This sounds like an incredibly hard boss.
Yep.
Holy crap!
There's actually a way to cheat that, though. For people who want to know, what you do is before you go to fight him, what you do is, because they're optional, so they're not part of the story. You can go fight them whenever you want to. What you do is you just go to a little battle outside in the green area right outside the desert, and you kill 2 of your characters and leave them dead, and then finish the battle with the little enemies, and then you go into the battle with him, with both of them being dead, and he automatically puts his hands at the ground because it only registers as 1 character left. And then you raise your other 2 characters back from the dead, but his hands are already in the ground. As long as you don't kill the 2 tentacles that come out behind you, he won't raise his hands back up. Sometimes it does get glitchy, and he'll do it anyway and just randomly throw a character out, which is just bullshit. But I mean, it's fucking a 23-year-old game almost. So I mean, it's gonna happen. Anyways, so like I said, HP absorb with Knights of the Round. And what you do is that you cast Hades first, and what Hades does is that this insanely strong enemy has one weakness, and that's that he is able to be stunned. He is able to be paralyzed. Everything else he
Okay.
is immune to. Literally everything else he is immune to. So once again, you can do this with level 0 materia. You don't need to max level anything. Just need HP boost or HP absorb, Knights of the Round, and Hades. So you summon Hades first, and Hades does like a whole bunch of fucking status effects and a little bit of damage. But one of the status effects is paralysis. So then now he's stunned. So then you do Knights of the Round, and Knights of the Round is going to do a shit ton of damage. And basically, it calls every single knight at the round table, and they all come down and do an insane amount of damage. Like, this is the strongest materia in the game.
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's a long animation too. Like normally a summon comes out, it's like 15 seconds. Like this thing takes like fucking 2 minutes to summon. Like it's these knights just going back and forth, just beating the fuck out of whatever you're fighting. It's pretty cool to watch.
Jeez. That's awesome.
Anyways, as soon as that finishes, then it restores all your HP because it does a shit ton of damage, so it gives you a shit ton of HP. He should still be stunned, and the reason why you want to use Hades to stun him is because if you use Knights of the Round, Ruby automatically counterattacks with Ultima, which will kill you instantly. So that's why you want him stunned, so he doesn't counterattack. And then whenever he finally comes out of the paralysis, he'll just normal hit you once, and then you go straight back into stunning with Hades, Knights of the Round, stunning with Hades, Knights of the Round, back and forth. But the thing of it is that you can't. Oh, I'm sorry. You also need W summon materia, which lets you summon 2 times in 1 turn because you can only summon once, and mime. So basically, the reason why you want this is because if you summon, it uses your mana. If you only have them at level 1, you can only summon them once in that fight, and that's it. But if you have Mime, we've already told you, Mime breaks the fucking rules of the game. So if you have W summon, you hit Mime, you'll just Mime your last action, and it just automatically summons both of them again. And you just keep hitting Mime, and it takes literally no mana away from you. You just keep hitting Mime every time it's your turn, and it just summons Hades, then it summons Knights of the Round. Hades, Knights of the Round. You just keep doing that over and over and over and over and over until he dies. And then you're done. Yeah, it's pretty broken. There is ways
That
to.
sounds kind of labor intense.
Yeah, there's so many people who have spent literally thousands of hours probably playing this game, leveling up every single materia multiple times, trying to find just multiple different ways you can fuck with materia just to see what you can pull off. Like, it's
And that's
pretty
really
crazy.
just you on different accounts, right?
No, but I am one of them. Yes, I haven't made videos, no, but there's a couple people that have made some videos, and fucking hats off to you guys. Some of them, there's one person in particular that's done way more materia grinding than I ever have, so fucking hats off to him. Like, I've never done the 8 mime trick. I've never done that. I've only seen it. I've never sat down and was like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking master out 8 full mimes. No, no. I don't have the patience for that. Don't have the patience for that. Something else that pisses me off is like I'm very OCD, and whenever you get new materia, it just randomly throws it in somewhere. Like there's not specific categories or slots, and like I actually organize my materia in my thing by color and
Because
alphabetical.
of course you do.
Of course I do,
Of course
right?
you do.
So every time I get
Duh.
something new, I then have to go move everything down by one to slot this in wherever the fuck it has to go. So yeah, it fucking drives me nuts. So I was streaming one time. I was playing Final Fantasy VII, and I was sitting there fixing my materia, and someone literally commented on my stream was like, "Can you do something else besides this? Because this would be nice to actually watch you play the game." And I was like, "Look, dude, I'm OCD, man. If I don't take care of this right now, it's going to bother me the entire time I'm playing."
And
I
you're just going
have
to hear
to
me
do
talk
this right
about it
now.
for the next hour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have to take care of this right now. But yeah, so a little bit of a tangent, but now you know a little bit more about the materia base and how all that comes into play a little bit, which is pretty cool. It's pretty interesting, especially whenever you get to mess around with a couple of different things. It's really awesome. There's a couple of really cool materias in the game. I mean, Knights of the Round, like I said, is the strongest, and that is actually one of the natural resource ones, which you cannot get unless you have a golden chocobo, because they can walk on everything, because it is a mountain crater-ish type island all the way to the top right of the map, and the water chocobo can only run on rivers. They can't run on the ocean. So the golden chocobo can, and so you just take off across the ocean, run up the mountain, down into the crater, and then you jump off, go inside the cave, and there it is, just waiting for you to come grab it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Mime is also one of those materials that you can't get without a special chocobo. I don't think you need a golden one for that one, though. I think Knights of the Round is the only one you need the golden one for. But once you have the golden one, you don't need the other ones. I mean, the golden one does everything the other ones do, so it's like, who cares?
Yeah, just keep your golden one. Like, do they die after a
No,
while?
it's like you got to buy stalls in order for them to actually have like a place to be, or you just let them run back into the wild. So like you have to pay for
Mm.
stalls right away, which I mean kind of sucks if you're low on money. But if you, by the time you get to the point where you're chocobo breeding, you should be pretty good on. I'll say that. Do not start chocobo breeding early game. It is not going to work out well for you. Just to get a golden chocobo, I mean you're probably going to spend around like 1,000,000 gil. So just I mean on food and stables and nuts, yeah, about 1,000,000 gil.
Gil is currency?
Gil is currency, correct. Yep, Gil
Cool.
is currency. So yeah. Anyways, way off track here. Holy shit, I forgot where we even were. Good lord.
Heroes storming Shinra, you usually decide to kick in the door, guns blazing.
Guns blazing. Okay, so yeah, we'll try to at least wrap up the Shinra arc a little bit, so that way we can wrap this episode up. So, because there's really not too much to do here. So basically, your entire goal is to try to find out where Aerith is at and save her. And it turns out that she is on, and it's actually kind of cool how they did this in the game, though. She is on, I think, the 65th floor. I think I'm right about that. And you can only go up to the 55th floor. And then from there, you have to do something specific on each floor to end up attaining a room key to get up to the next floor. So sometimes there's puzzles, sometimes it's just fighting people, sometimes it's stealing a card off of somebody. At one point, you lie to this one guy and tell him you're a maintenance crew, and he gives you his card so you can go up to the next floor and fix the light bulbs or some bullshit. Like, it's pretty cool. But you end up getting to this one spot where it's kind of like a rec room type deal, and they have a bathroom. And you go into the bathroom, and you climb up into the air vent into the duct, and you end up getting over the conference room. And this is where you actually kind of get to hear what Shinra's overall plans are for Aerith, because we have this creepy guy walk in, and I'll look for a picture of him. But we had this creepy guy walk in, and you are going to hear this name a lot from here on out. But this is Professor Hojo. He is basically the leader of the research whatever. He does all the scientific shit for fucking Shinra. He's a huge scientist. He dabbles in some very interesting things for the Shinra company. I'll put it that way. He is not a good guy at all. Piece of shit. His job is basically to experiment on Aerith to try to figure out if he can remake another ancient, since they're basically dead at this point. She's the last remaining one. He was also part of the project that helped create something along the lines of an ancient, which we will get a little bit further into later on in the game. And their overall goal is to try to use the ancient's power to get to the promised land, so that way they can have all that free makeover themselves to make more materia and make bigger armies, and yeah, the same old evil
Let's
deeds.
get resources and then use those resources to
Instantly.
subjugate people.
Pretty much. Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, at least they're consistent.
Oh,
I'm
for sure.
just disappointed.
So that's Hojo in the game, or in Final Fantasy VII. He also made an appearance in Final Fantasy Crisis Core, which has way better graphics, which is the game that takes place before Final Fantasy VII. So this is what Hojo actually looks like. But that is Professor Hojo.
That helps, because the first one kind of looked like Snape on his wedding day.
Yeah. So, yep. The graphics we had to deal with.
He's slimy. I
Yeah.
don't like him.
Oh yeah. He is not a likable character. Anyways, so basically you end up going through a couple things. So now we get into something a little cool. I'm excited about this part. So they finally get to this one floor. I think it's a 64. Let's just go and say there's 65 floors that you gotta get through. You get to the 64th floor, and you end up running, or as they're walking around trying to find Aerith, they see a tank labeled Specimen. Barrett and Tifa, or whoever you have on, yeah, it has to be Barrett and Tifa at this point. Barrett and Tifa automatically run to that, while Cloud sees this little kind of chamber off to the side. He walks up to the chamber, and it says Genova on it. He takes a look into the window, and he sees a headless corpse just floating in there. And then automatically has one of his like freak out moments, and Tifa and Barrett kind of come to like his rescue and pick him up. It's like, hey, what's going on? So the picture I'm going to send you is actually a fan art drawn picture, and the reason why is because this is easily one of the best pictures I've ever fucking seen of Genova, honestly. But she still has her head on here, so imagine, her head gone, and that's basically what Cloud saw, sitting in a tank. But that is Genova.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, gorgeous artwork, but
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I would kind of lose my cool if there was a floating headless corpse that looked like that.
Just a little bit, and we will, not at this moment, but we will very soon get to the reason on why she is headless. Anyways, and basically who Genova is. But moving on past that, so, anyways, so they get to they go over to the chamber, and let's see here. I might as well just go ahead. We'll post a solo picture of him. Anyways, they go over to the chamber and look at the specimen, and then finally we get to see the final and favorite member of my team, Mr. Red 13, Nanaki. So excited. He is in a tank labeled specimen. And as they try to get close to him and kind of see who he is or, what's going on, what he's doing, the tank raises up to the 65th floor. Cloud and them then jump into a service elevator next to it, go up to see Hojo is getting ready to move forward with his experiments. His experiments, plural. One being specimen Red 13 here, and two being specimen Aerith. He thinks that Red 13 is also an ancient, since his species lives for a very long time, and is going to try and see if he can't get them to mate. Once again, Aerith and our half wolf, half lion friend here, Red 13. Yes.
Let's just add some more weird dark in here. Okay.
Hojo is he's something, all right. Hojo is as dark as it gets. He is easily the enemy you love to hate, for sure. Yeah, he's pretty cool. And just because I know you don't know who Kate Sith, but you've seen a picture of Kate Sith, this is like one of my favorite pictures of Red 13. It's like him and little Kate Sith taking a nap together. Like, aw.
I mean, that's adorable.
Right? Anyways, so back to where we're at. So basically, that's his plan. At that point, Cloud and them jump in the way, and they're like, "Hey, stop this, whatever." And then Cloud's like, "Barrett, can you do anything to get them out?" Then Red 13 starts chasing Aerith around in the tank and growling and snarling at her. At which Hojo's obviously happy because he thinks, either one, they're gonna mate, or two, he's gonna kill her, one or the other. Hojo doesn't really give a fuck.
Why would that be an acceptable option?
Yeah, right. So Barrett starts shooting the machine. All of a sudden, this bright white light goes off inside the tank, and Hojo starts freaking out, like, "Oh my god, what did you do to my creations? What did you do to my creations?" And then as soon as the door opens, you see Red 13 just come flying out of the fucking tank, tackling Hojo to the ground, and starts fucking like biting into his fucking neck and shit. It's pretty fucking cool. Doesn't look that gruesome in the game because, once again, the graphics, but I'm pretty sure it looked pretty fucking cool. He doesn't kill Hojo. That doesn't happen. I will say that. But anyways, Red 13, or they start talking, and Aerith is like, "Oh my god, I was so scared." And Cloud's like, "Oh, I'm glad you're okay." And then Red 13 looks at Aerith and talks. Yes, Red 13 can talk. Says, "Sorry about that, but I wanted to play it up in front of Hojo to make him think that obviously I was going to do what he wanted me to do." He goes, "I had no intentions on hurting you." He's like, "Quite frankly, my type walks on 4 legs, not 2," which I thought was pretty funny.
All right.
I mean,
cool.
At least he's honest about it, Like, hey, do you
not...
walk on 4 legs? Maybe, but you don't. So, not my type. Not my type. I love Red 13. He's the best.
That's great.
Anyways, so at that point, they are basically like, "Okay, well, what we need to do is we need to get out of here." And then all of a sudden, like, this monster appears. And Red 13, this is where you get to this is where you know that Red 13 actually could become a team member, because he offers to help you fight the monster. So you can set him on your team if you want to take him out, which is when I finally make my Ultima team, and I get rid of Barrett, and I bring Nanaki to the fold, and it's Cloud, Tifa, and Red 13 the rest of the way. That's my team. Anyways, so you fight the monster, beat the monster. It's just one another of Hojo's experiments, and whenever you get done, it's basically like we have to hurry up and break out. So they end up going to hurry up and get the fuck out and break out and all that fun stuff. They start running down through the thing or through the towers, taking the elevator down, and whenever they go do that, they get stopped by the Turks. Yeah, that's what it was. They got in an elevator and they got stopped by the Turks. Sung and Rude. So you haven't met Rude yet. Once again, in the Turk picture, Rude is the bald-headed guy. He is actually pretty much Reno's partner and best friend. So usually you always see Rude and Reno together. Sun is actually partners with one of the other Turks, but we haven't met her in the story yet, so we'll wait till we get there. And then after that, the other Turks that are in this picture are pretty much not in the game whatsoever. They're from a different game, which is the Before Crisis game, which is not what we're covering. So, anyways, so you get stopped by the Turks. They tell you go ahead and take the elevator up to the top floor. That the president wants to see you, and they walk you out in handcuffs, and you've all been caught at this point. So then the president talks about the fact that they're going to use Aerith to get to the Promised Land and take the Promised Land for themselves. And there's pretty much nothing you can do about it, at which then you all get locked up in jail cells. It's interesting the order they did. So Barrett gets put in a jail cell with Red 13, and then next to them to their left is Cloud and Tifa, and then next to them to their left is Aerith by herself, which makes sense because she's the Ancient, so they're probably going to want to keep her away from the rest of the group.
Away from everybody else, yeah.
Right. So, once again, for the people who want to play the game, there are two things here. One, always talk to the person you try to romance first. Because basically you're going to walk to the door and Cloud's going to go, I wonder how, and then it's going to list all the characters and say, are doing. And you get to pick which one you want to do first. You do all of them, but once again, the one you want to romance, do that one first. And if it's Tifa, do Aerith last. If it's Aerith, do Tifa last. Anyways, moving on. Nanaki literally gives no status change to anybody through the entire game, or Red 13, sorry, because that's what you're going to know him as at first, and we'll get to Nanaki later.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so that being said, the second part is that if you talk to Tifa here, she says, "Do you think we can bust out of here?" You have two word choices to choose from, which is "I don't know." I think it's "I don't know," and the other one is "Yeah, leave it to me." If you say "Yeah, leave it to me," it gives +5 to Tifa. I think. No, +1 to Tifa.
She likes confidence men. Okay.
She likes the confidence. So
nice.
it gets +1 to Tifa. The cool part, and the reason why I'm pointing this out, is that in the game, for some reason, you can actually ask her this, and it will keep letting you do the word choice every time. So you could spam this and get her infinity points as far up as you want to, and then pretty much it's a golden shot to have Tifa on the date. So you can do it as much as you want to. I think my last playthrough, I literally sat there and just kept tapping A, like I think I did like 150 times. Then I was like, all right, cool, we're good to move forward.
I got my girl. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm golden at this point. Now I could check on everybody else. The best part is that whenever you go to check on Aerith, Aerith actually gets up and starts talking. She's like, "Hey, Cloud, can you hear me?" And then that's when she notices that Cloud's in the cell next to him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm here." And she goes, "So you're gonna bust us out of here?" And Cloud's like, "Well, I'm working on it." And she goes, "Good, because remember, I still owe you that date." And then Tifa goes, "Date? ... And then Aerith is like, "Wait, Tifa's there too?" Like it's like this awkward situation, which is so fucking funny because once again, I mean, he hasn't necessarily said he's dating either one of them, depending on the character's choices or the player's choices, obviously. But it's just funny because like you're actually starting to see this love triangle where it's starting to like actually come full circle between the three of them. Yeah, so it's just pretty funny. So then Tifa immediately jumps to the let's just focus on getting out of here type deal. Or getting rest is what it is. So basically, once Cloud finally chooses to go to sleep and get some rest. You wake up, and the guards that you could see on the outside of the wall, not only are they dead, but there's blood all over the floor, all over the walls, and the cell to just Cloud's door is open, or Cloud Tifa's door is open. So Cloud gets up, you go out, you check on the guards, you come back in, tell Tifa, she wakes up, and then you're like, "Hey, go free Aerith, I'll get Barrett and Red 13. Red 13's like, "I'll scout out up ahead, see what happened." Basically, you end up walking up, and you find the president of Shinra is dead.
Ooh, I didn't see that coming.
Nope. With a gigantic Sephiroth mass immune sword sticking right out of his back.
I wonder who it is.
Ooh. Anyways. So, At that point, um, another character, Palmer, which works for like the space station aspect of Shinra. Yeah, they do everything. They literally fucking do everything. Military, space program, electricity, urban development. Like they fucking do everything. It's ridiculous. Anyways, he comes in trying to run away from you guys. You basically grab him, squeeze some information. Then you see a helicopter pull up, where we get our next character, Mr. Rufus Shinra. Yes, his last name is Shinra, meaning he is son and now the new president of Shinra. At which Cloud then goes out to have a conversation with him. Basically, the whole team does. Which is funny because he kind of makes fun of the team. He's like, oh, well, look at this ragtag bunch of losers or something like that. And he's like, my father thought everything ran on money. And that's not the way to do business because we're rich. We already have enough money. And then they're all like, oh, so you're going to stop, gouging everybody. It's like, no, we'll still continue to do that. But I believe, as the new president, I will run everything by fear. People will fear Shinra. And it's like, oh, great. Yeah, that's the
We had hope, and now it's crashed to the ground. Thank you.
instantly,
Please die.
literally instantly. Yeah, he's
Great.
Rufus is kind of a douchebag. Anyways,
I was just saying, all of our enemies so far are douchebags. Like, they just kind of kept that consistent. That's nice.
yeah,
I don't have to question whether or not I dislike them
there you go.
so
There
far.
you go. Yeah, true. We'll see. We'll see how
Who
it
knows?
goes.
Maybe Sephiroth's going to be our best friend.
We'll see. We'll see as we go forward. But anyways, so basically at this point, Cloud's like, get everybody out, and I'll take care of Rufus. So basically, you and Rufus are going to get into a little fight here, which lasts for a little while the entire team leaves. But Tifa kind of stays back and waits for Cloud, which is funny because that's another part where like the love triangle comes into play because Aerith is like, wait, what about Cloud? And Tifa's like, you go, I'll wait for Cloud. And it's just like, okay, just trying to assert that dominance. Get him, boo. Get him.
Oh, man.
I love Tifa so much. Anyways, in case you couldn't tell.
And will she do that even if you've romanced the heck out of Aerith?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, that
Okay.
part doesn't change.
Like, Tifa's really trying to lay claim.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, for sure. So just so that way you have a reference, that's what Rufus looks like in the game. He was also in the Final Fantasy VII movie, Advent Children, and so this is what he actually looks like in the movie, where you can kind of see him a little bit better. But that's Rufus Shinra.
He does
new
not
president.
have orange hair in the movie version.
He does not. That is correct. It's a little bit more on the blonde side, It's a little bit.
White? Just straight white hair?
I mean, no, it's definitely blonde. I mean, you kind of can't really see it in that picture, but this right here is
Okay.
basically just like a close up on his face from the actual movie. And I mean, personally, I would say this is blonde, but I mean, we'll see what you think. But so I think that's blonde.
Still looks white to me,
We'll
but
say bright blonde. There we go. Boom. We'll settle in the middle.
that's a new one. Bright blonde.
Bright blonde.
Yeah, sure.
We'll settle right in the middle. Bleach blonde. There you go. Right in the middle. Anyways, so the whole fight goes down with Rufus, and he basically kind of like laughs it all off, and then ends up leaving, jumps on his helicopter, goes away, and then Cloud has to go back down. Now it's up to the team to escape the building because all the guards have been let out to track them down and take them out. Look at these graphics. Yeah, 1997, baby.
Wow, he's badass.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm impressed.
Isn't it great? Isn't it great?
Oh, we're gonna look at this one shake. We're gonna look at this one shake. Everybody's impressed.
So, that is how they escape from Shinra.
They find a car inside and just drive it out.
Well, as I told you, Shinra apparently appears to be, the company that does everything. They also make vehicles as well, and that was the lobby floor of them, presenting their brand new motorcycle and brand new truck. So,
I'm sorry, that truck was a brand new truck?
yeah. So that's where me and you had this conversation. I think on an older one where I was trying to describe the kind of feel of Final Fantasy VII, and where I said like
Uh-huh.
futuristic, but I feel like it's not futuristic. It's kind of like modern slash steampunky, if not even like a little bit older than moderns, because like the way those vehicles looked, like the motorcycle looks like something we could easily have today, but that fucking
Yeah.
truck looked like some real old like style
Yep.
type fucking vehicle.
Like old style farm
Yeah,
truck. Like
yeah,
that was yeah, okay.
yeah.
If contemporary, maybe contemporary is an appropriate word.
Fair enough.
Because modern isn't.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. It's kind of hard to like, cause like I said, I know I already said this at one point, so I'm fine saying it again. But at some point, you're literally on a ship and you're flying through the fucking map and stuff like that. Like that's your final vehicle you get in the game to fly around the map and shit. So it's like really hard to place exactly where Final Fantasy VII lies as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
a little
So it's got its own unique feel.
own
I'll just
unique
roll with
feel.
it that
There
way.
you go.
I can live with that.
I'm fine with that. Oh, it's got its own unique feel. Cool. I'm good with that. Anyways, so they make their dashing escape out the window in their awesome, cool looking vehicles. And basically, a whole bunch of Shinra troops start riding up on motorcycles. Cloud pulls out a sword, and basically, your job is to try to keep them off the truck. So they keep running up to the truck and hitting the truck, like ramming into it. And Cloud just uses the sword to slash the guys off the motorcycles until you get to the end. Cool part about this is like if you let the truck take any damage, like it shows everybody's health bar, individual health bar, including Cloud's.
Hmm.
At the end of this, you end up getting stopped by a gigantic like Shinra big like robot fucking goddamn Decepticon looking machine. Whatever damage you took from that whole little mini game, it's called the G Bike mini game, that like you literally also have to fight with that amount of damage already on you. So, like, you know, if you
Oh.
got your ass kicked hardcore through that, then you're about to start out this fight with some low health, and you better hope you can get them heals off quick. So, it's pretty cool. Which is awesome because, like, that actually, the G Bike minigame was actually created into a full 3D scale game with really good graphics that was out for a little while. It's off the market now, they took it down. But that actually became like its own thing. Like Final Fantasy VII has spawned off its own versions of games multiple
Was
times.
it like a 10-minute game?
No,
Like,
actually, they did like they had it to where like all the characters would show up at random times and stuff. They were like bosses that would be in front of you, and you could cast magic spells at them and shit like that. Like they turned it into like this full on game. People liked it. It was fun. I mean, but it was really repetitive, obviously. So, but yeah, no,
all right.
like I said, Final Fantasy
Okay.
VII's been everywhere. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. Love the game though. Love it. Anyways, after you beat that, basically you walk because you get to a dead end where like the road just stops and it's going up like almost like a ramp. So it's like you'll literally just fly off into the city and then land and die. So everybody just kind of like stops and they're like, "What now?" And they're like, "Well, we can't stay here. We have to move forward." And so then your team officially leaves Midgard. And you're standing outside the Midgard sector as everybody turns around to say one last goodbye to Midgard, and then that's whenever you get to pick who the leader is, and everybody votes for Cloud except for Barrett. Barrett voted for himself. I was pretty upset whenever he didn't
Excellent
get.
leader material.
Yeah, he was pretty upset whenever he didn't get in. Of course, Cloud's typical fashion didn't want it, so you know it's great. The typical, I'm the cool guy, like not interested. There we go. The typical Cloud. Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great. So then they pick Cloud to be the leader, and basically you make a plan to meet up in Calm, which is the next city, and also our stop for this episode. We officially got through Midgar. What do you think
All
about
right.
the game so far? What do you think about all the new shit that just got thrown at you?
There was
Ancients,
a lot of new shit that just got thrown at me,
yeah,
to be honest.
Ancients, Genova, Rufus, the president of Shinra, is dead. Hojo trying to make Red 13 and Aerith get it on.
Yeah, God, that got weird and dark. This
Not
is
really
not a
knowing
kid's
what
game. This is not a kid's game.
not really knowing what Red 13 is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Also,
that's me, boy.
bad science. Hey, this thing lives for a long time and looks like a wolf and a lion. I'm gonna make it bang this thing that also lives for a long time and let's see what happens. Like,
Yeah, I know, right?
horrible scientist.
Yep.
Like, there's so many better stages of science you can do before you get to that stage.
Well, I'm glad you already have him on the level of horrible scientists. I can't wait to see how much further that continues down that level as we continue through this story.
Yeah, I don't think he's
Oh,
going to get any points back, but he might get maybe one if he starts doing good science.
yeah. I
Yeah, I
doubt
don't think
that.
he's going to.
He might do good science, but I don't think he's gonna get points back. But
He just kind of sounds like a perv that decided to call himself a doctor at this point.
yeah, he's a
It's part
douchebag.
of the vibe.
Not
All
a
right.
not a Hojo fan. Not a Hojo fan.
All
I
right.
think I think there's a good chance he could probably be your most hated character out of the series. There's a very good chance of that actually.
All right. Well, we'll have to see
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't think we're done with introducing new
We
characters,
are
right?
not even close. Not
Not
even
even
close.
close.
Like
That's what I
literally,
figured.
this is the beginning of the game. Like we just left the first area for the first time. You officially got like this is your first official walk onto the world map at this part of the game.
Okay, so yeah, we're really early on.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited to figure out more about Red 13 Nanaki. Like I'm
Yes.
excited to learn more about that
That's
character.
my
He seems
dude.
really cool.
That's my
Like he
dude.
looks awesome.
Yes, he does. His design is so fucking cool. Oh my god, he looks so cool. The only thing I hated about him being in the movie is that he only had one line. Literally one line, and it was at the very end
Oh.
of the game. I was like, "Come on, we could have gave Red 13 something else." You had Kate Sith talking like constantly. It's like fucking even Sid's over here talking. I don't even like Sid. It's not true. I like all the characters, but still, he's like my least favorite character. I was like, "Fuck!" Like we could have gave Red 13 a little bit more like his voice lines, please. He was like so
Now,
cool in the game
is Red 13 kind of like beloved?
by the
Seems like
community.
he is, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
he's got a huge fan base.
Okay.
It's actually funny. I think whenever they rated, so they rated all the Final Fantasy games on who was the overall favorite characters, and obviously, first off, Final Fantasy VII's kind of dominated the top of that list. People can argue with me, but the lists are out there. Go look at it. Even the Japan list, Cloud was the number one. What's interesting is they did another poll, which who are your favorite characters? Cloud was number two. You have not met number one yet. I know, right? Right? Crazy. You have
Huh.
not met
But
yet number one
but
yet.
from this game?
But from this game, Cloud was number two favorite character out of Final Fantasy VII over in Japan. They did like an entire
Huh.
poll. Yeah, and he was actually number two. I think Red 13 was like number three or number four. Yeah, it's either four or five.
Was number one the big fat blob?
Are you talking about Kate Sith? No,
I don't know.
you literally have not met this. Like you haven't even seen a picture of this character yet. That's how under wraps I'm keeping this character, and there's a reason for that.
Okay, so anybody who's played Final Fantasy VII is like, why aren't you talking about this person
Oh
yet?
yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Well, no, he hasn't come up yet.
He hasn't come up. He
Yeah,
hasn't come up. Okay,
you do
so
have a
definitely a
he.
dude.
Yes, he is a he. But yeah,
Interesting.
and he plays a huge role in this game, but we haven't gotten there yet. And I will say this: it's not Sephiroth, and you have seen a picture of Sephiroth, and you've heard his
I
name.
have.
It's not Sephiroth. I think actually he was number three. A lot of people really like his like whole long silver mane look and shit like that. Like they think he looks really really cool, which he does. I mean, he's a pretty cool looking villain. He actually is the number one rated villain out of the Final Fantasy series. He's pretty cool.
He seems nifty. All of these guys seem pretty though. Like all of them are made to be pretty.
Oh yeah, that's just the Final Fantasy series in general. Like they're all yeah.
Yeah.
They're all like these fucking guys that do the down deep dirty jobs, but yet they look like the fucking perfect like, models and shit as they walk out. Yeah, it's yeah. Except for
Yeah.
Barrett. Barrett's kind of like huge, like fucking muscular, huge.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't he designed to be like the scary, brutish one though?
Yes, he is for sure.
Yeah.
Vincent definitely falls in the same role as the rest of the guys, and then Sid is like this old guy with a smoker's cough, so he's probably the only person that kind of falls out of that category. But you gotta love Sid. You gotta love Sid. So, but yeah. Anyway, so to end this with typical fashion, you get to pick somebody. You now have a new addition to the team. We now have
Well,
Red
yeah, but you're
13.
not gonna tell me anything about him.
I got some stuff I can tell you about him.
You do?
Yeah, I got some stuff I can tell you about him.
Okay,
because
tell me about
his
Return.
official arc doesn't actually start till you get to his hometown, but like most of the stuff you kind of hear through passing and conversation anyway, but it's passing conversation. It's nothing like story taken. So I give you actually a pretty good little bit about Nanaki. So Red 13, his original name, Nanaki, Nanaki. He is a special race that's actually never been classified. Um, he is also the last of his, or well, he's not the last of his race. There's like a couple, but they're very scarce. He comes
Mm-hmm.
from Cosmo Canyon, which we've talked about, which is that one where I told you it's like a real tribal field, um,
Mm-hmm.
which is really really cool. Because I am so excited that you picked him because you get to hear his theme song next time, and his fucking theme song is the fucking best. I love his theme song so much. Like I listen to that shit all the time. It's so good. And that one chick that did the violin cover, she did a cover to his theme song too, and it's so fucking good. It's so good. But anyways, so yeah, Nanaki born. Basically, a whole bunch of shit went down in his village, which I won't say exactly what happened, but he ended up losing his mother to it. Didn't know his father, so he's kind of grown up, just kind of completely upset that he was abandoned by his father and that his mother died. He wasn't able to help anybody because he was too young. He was just a pup at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He lives with his grandfather. Um, that's who basically watches over him. We won't go into him yet. But like I said, he reigns from Cosmo Canyon. He uses, it's actually weird, those little feathers that he has tucked behind his head.
Yeah.
They're hairpins. That's what his weapon is. I don't know how he uses that to fight, but in the game he just runs forward and then he does like a front flip and then like hits the person and then bounce back. Like it's really really cool. Like it even makes like a really loud really really loud growl whenever he does it. It's so fucking cool. But yeah, like I don't know why that's his weapons. It's just
I was gonna say
hairpins.
he appears to have claws
Yeah.
and teeth, which I
Yeah, but
assume
you
would be
can't.
better.
But you can't change those out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like the actual change out weapons. It's just like that little headpiece. Yeah, they changed that. So, but yes, he attacks with that other stuff. So,
Because he had to have weapons you could change out, clearly.
yeah, he's part of the team. Everybody's got to.
I mean, yeah, but
The best part is that looking at the full team picture, Kate Sith, which is I'm guessing the blob you were talking about, which obviously we'll get a little bit more into him once we get there. But Kate Sith, his actual weapon is the microphone in his hand.
God, they went full Japanese on this one.
That is the actual weapon, is the microphone in his hand that you change out. So yeah. So Red 13, you kind of really can't tell from this picture, but his right eye is gone. He lost his right eye, and he's just got like a gigantic X over that as a scar, which is pretty
Now, did
fucking
he
cool.
lose his red eye in the same thing that killed his mom?
No, he loses that a
Okay.
little bit later.
Okay.
Actually, directly before, or no, it's not an X. It's just one line. I don't know why I thought it was an X. Oh, because his eyes closed, it makes it look like an X. Duckers. Anyways, he actually loses that pretty much. Like the timeline is kind of weird. Going through the Final Fantasy Ultimania and through like before Crisis and stuff, you kind of figure that he lost it during the experiments that Hojo was putting on him after he got captured. So,
Hojo's a dick. All right, keep going.
well, the even worse part is that Nanaki is, I think, like 40 years old, but because of his race, he's more like 14. So I don't even think it's that. I think he's like fucking 100 and something or 400 and something. I can't remember. I can't remember exactly. I think his race lives to be 400. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
So he's very much like still a kid, and you kind of figure that out like as like you get to Cosmo Canyon and meet his grandfather and stuff like that. Like he treats him like he's still like a kid, but he's like so destined to be like this warrior that's going to protect Cosmo Canyon and be the new warrior that just protect. Like that's his whole thing, is like he lost his mother and he lost a lot of his people. Like he wants to protect his village. He wants to be the hero. So Red 13's a really like his entire quest is to get back to Cosmo Canyon with the team. Like that's he's telling you that throughout the game, is like I'm with you guys until we get to Cosmo Canyon. So, but you get to Cosmo Canyon pretty early on in the game. But obviously, as you know, I use him on my team, so there's some reason why he gets back on the team. But we'll talk about that
Some
later.
reason why he stays with you.
Correct.
He
Yes.
just falls in love with Cloud, right? And that's
Right.
the true
Exactly.
romance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
clearly.
true romance right there, for sure. I love him though. That's my boy. Like I love Red 13. He's so fucking cool. Because I wish he would have had a couple more voice lines, but I mean, it is what it is. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's actually funny. I found this artwork that somebody had made where it's like them actually leaving Midgar. Fucking Red 13's just like fucking passed out while they're all like looking at a map and shit, trying to figure out where to go. It's just so fucking great. I love it. There's really, really cool artwork. People like really get into this shit. It's pretty awesome. I appreciate it for sure. Stuff's cool.
I love it. That's really cool.
Right. So yeah, so that would be. Oh, and then obviously he got captured by Hojo. They did some experiments on him. None of those were really said what any kind of side effects, if any, were. He does have magical powers, but that's just part of his like race. Um, and once again, he lost his eye. Then Hojo put the tattooed mark on him or burned it into him, which is that gigantic 13 that's on his shoulder. He also has some tribal tattoos that you can already see, but that 13, and then that's because that's what Hojo named him, was Project 13. Whenever you actually release them and he attacks Hojo after you do the fight, they're like, what can we call you? And he goes, well, you can call me whatever you want to. He's all like, this human here called me 13, or Red 13, but that name has absolutely no meaning to me. It's up to you. Which, the funny part is whenever people start playing the game, you have no... Go ahead.
Oh, continue. Nope, sorry.
You have no idea what his real name is until you get to Cosmo Canyon. So you end up naming him Red 13 or whatever you want to, and then when you get to Cosmo Canyon, that's when they do that whole like, oh, Nanaki, you're here. And Cloud's like, who's Nanaki? And he's like, Red 13 is Nanaki. So then that's when you learn that his name is Nanaki. Which, once again...
Do you have that opportunity to rename him, or do you call him Red 13 the rest of the game? You keep
calling him Red 13 the rest of the game.
So you learn as a friend, and then you just keep calling him what his torturer called him? Yeah. That's horrible. I understand it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I know. But he dons it, you know? He's cool. I like Red 13. He's a fucking badass. That's my boy. Anyways, so yeah, like I said, he brands him with that. Red 13 actually has a cool set of limit breakers. I didn't actually get into Barrett's limit breakers last time because I don't really think his limit breakers are all that cool. But he does have a couple cool ones where it's like Grenade Blast and like Big Shot that do major damage. His last one is like he calls like this laser beam down from the fucking satellite in the sky or in the fucking outer space and just fucking like nukes the fucking spot in front of him. Red 13 is a little bit different. Some of his stuff is like he'll summon like energy around him and then use that energy as he dashes through the enemies. Some of them do just straight damage. Some of them take like MP away. Some of them do life regeneration or life absorption from the enemy, so like a vampire effect. One of his really cool ones is Blood Red Moon, and basically he casts haste on himself. And he like starts flashing red, and then he just does like non-stop combos, which is really, really cool. That's like his like last one before you get his like last one. His last one is called Cosmo Memory, or no, Memory of the Cosmos. And basically he like summons the stars, and they make this gigantic energy burst into one like solid force above him, and then he shoots it out like a laser beam from above his head, and it just fucking annihilates what's in front of him. It's like one of the strongest ones in the game.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's a fucking badass. Love Red 13. He's fucking great. So yeah, and that would conclude about the amount I think I can safely give away on our good friend Nanaki here. Yeah, he's
all right.
Which goes back to that tattoo I showed you where it had like the wolf head on it. That's what I was talking about. Like I would actually like to get that edited to where it has the scratched out eye and get like a 13 on it somewhere and make it actually Red 13 versus the actual wolf symbol.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'd look fucking sick.
All right, friends. Well, that will wrap up our third class on our Final Fantasy VII semester. If you heard anything you disagree with, you have follow-up questions, please jump in the comments and let us know. Chris will either argue with you or educate you, depending on what you say.
Most likely educate. I'm passing out lessons all day.
If you enjoyed this content, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you know when to come to class. If you want to contact us directly, please check out the Twitter or Twitch links that are below this video. And hopefully we'll see you in the next class. Bye, friends.
Bye.